Hi. Sometimes an artist's best work gets overlooked and it's not fair. I wasn't even looking for something particular to read when I found or stumbled across this series. I was just doom scrolling through Kitsu.io at like 2 a.m. I think. And then I saw the cover, Livingstone. I had this entire script prepared that I wrote down on my iPad that I thought about reading out loud to you guys or making a video about. But if I'm being honest, I don't think that would do this series justice. Instead of doing all that, why don't I just sit here and talk about it for a minute or two? What got me into manga or anime in general when I was younger was the show or manga named Deadman Wonderland. It was quite popular in 2012, 2013, and the opening was definitely what got me into it at the time. Loved everything that was anxious or like, oh, you wouldn't understand me. Everything that fit into that bucket, I generally was a big fan of. Some of it I grew out of and some of it I clearly didn't. The song One Reason, which is the opening to Deadman Wonderland, but was the reason I actually got into the show to begin with. It's a rock opening and it's completely in English, I realized later on, which at least for the time was not something I had encountered before. I think at the time I had only really watched stuff like Death Note and Fullmetal Alchemist, and I was an avid Naruto fan as well, which led to me putting Deadman Wonderland, the manga, on my Christmas list at that time. I was so gifted, man. Like my grandma and grandpa from my dad's side gifted me not just the volumes that I put on the wishing list, the entire show, actually the entire run, volumes 1 through 13. And I read those and I didn't really think much of it in the beginning. I enjoyed it, the art was good, and the story I later on realized is kind of mediocre, but it's special to me and it always will be. But then I stumbled across this, Livingstone, and I thought it was familiar. I had seen this art style before. I'd seen these names before, and I looked it up, and it's the same creators, the same mangaka, like same story writer, and same artist. And you can definitely see that while you're reading it, that it gives off a certain vibe, and it's about life and how precious it can be. We've all these two investigators, Sakurai and Amano, who cleans up spirits who are still alive or present after either a passing or someone who has become obsessed, like from a dead spirit. Every single chapter is in and of itself a small story written in a kind of Junji Ito type of way, where a chapter is its own separate type of story. It tackles some stuff that we've definitely seen in manga before. Goodnight Punpun, basically all of Inu Asano's stuff, tackles heavy stuff all the time. Suicide, mental illnesses, the pressure of being a mangaka. I think it's called Downfall, that manga. In this manga, it's talked about a bit differently. At least that's what I got out of it. Yes, it is just short stories, and it is very rudimentary in the way that it just barely touches the surface of what probably should have done. Maybe they should have dove in deeper into this subject. But it can be anything from a man who feels bad about life and his wife might have left him. His entire life is actually falling apart, to a Tokyo University student who wants to end himself. The victims here span quite wide, which I think is what makes it special. What makes this stand out from stuff like Goodnight Punpun is that, well, in Goodnight Punpun you're seeing one specific character, you're seeing one specific boy in this case, or ghost, whatever you want to call him, and you see him grow up. Life treats him unfairly and how he reacts to that and how he gets corrupted almost. While in this case you're seeing different types of lives and how they all accumulated to this moment of, well, almost near-death experiences. Sakurai wants to save these spirits. He doesn't want them to, or what do you say, end, I should probably say. I gotta be honest, I'm making this quite a bit after having read the manga, so everything's not completely fresh. Amano just wants them to die. In the first chapter here, in the first page, we see Sakurai and Amano standing next to this guy who wants to die, sitting in a bathtub with the razor blade ready, basically. And Amano says that, well, we're here to kill you. Like, we came here to kill you. While Sakurai says that, well, we came here to save you. Illustrated very well in I'm gonna put this up on the screen, with the kanjis and then the actual artwork. It's kind of beautiful in a very sad way. As I said, yes, I had this entire script ready. I learned recently that sometimes it's better to learn how to do your own style, do what you want to do. And even though I did all this entire script about what what is Livingstone and the quiet brutality of it all, and a personal story buried in silence, as I called it here. And it all boils down to is that Livingstone it sat with me. It did for a few days afterwards. I've had this before with shows, or with whether it being books or it being shows or music for that matter, where it'll sit with me for a few days or a few hours afterwards, but then usually I'll go to bed and I'll forget about it, wake up the next day ready to move on. In this case, it didn't. It wasn't as simple as me going to bed and then waking up, going on my day again and moving on to the next piece of work. This sat with me for weeks. I am in the fortunate position that I have yet to lose anyone in my immediate family. Even with me being that privileged, death's a scary thing, man. Some people see it as a beautiful thing, and I get that. I really can't get behind that idea. But losing loved ones to suicide or to any other reason is different beast. That's definitely something that gets reflected here. Is this better than Deadman Wonderland, the manga? I'd say so. As I said, Deadman Wonderland has a special place in my heart, and it will till the day I die, probably. It is the reason I moved to Japan. It is the catalyst for me learning Japanese and getting into both YouTube creation just for the heck of it, but also just reading manga and Japanese culture in general. But if I put that subjectivity aside, I definitely think this is the best work from Tomohiro and Jinsei. They're a great duo. I hope they make more. From what I know and from the admittedly limited research I've done so far, it seems like they've only done 3 mangas, which would be Eureka 7, Deadman Wonderland, and Livingstone. This video is not scripted, obviously. It's very all over the place, and I'm sorry for that, but I genuinely had plans to read through the script when I sat down, and then I realized that, well, maybe it's better if I just pour out what I'm thinking instead. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. Usually I do more structured content with reading and my thoughts in a better formulated manner. So if you want more of this type of content where I'm just sitting and spewing out my thoughts, please let me know in the comments down below. If you want more of the structured content that I've already uploaded a few videos of. I have a Maiden Abyss one, I have a Kaiju 8, and I have a Beastars one. That one's really good actually. But if you prefer those types of videos, please do let me know. I'm sorry for the shorter video than usual. I try to go for the 4 or 5 minutes, and this actually might end up being that, but I'm a lost for words and I'm slurring. So thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope to see you in the next one.